Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Champs 2021 review show here on Track Alerts TV on YouTube, Track Alerts on Facebook Live. Champs 2021 is over, and Jamaica College, who last won 10 years ago, is celebrating again. Edwin Allen made it 7 straight for their 8th title overall. At the end of 5 days, Jamaica College scored 325 points. They were disqualified in the 4x4 after crossing the line first. They beat Kingston College 313 points, Calabar 241.5, Stets 181, and St. Jago 129. On the girls' side, Edwin Allen pushed to the line, ended on 340 points to beat St. Jago 309.5 points. They beat them by 30.5 points. Edwin Heidel took the meet's final event, the 4x4, and they finished 3rd overall on the girls' standing with 301.5 points. Holmwod ended with 160.5 points. And of course, Veer rounded off the top 5 with 128. All the girls' 200-meter final winners ended with double gold, double individual gold, that is, because Tina Clayton won the 1-2 double in class 2. She anchored her 4x1 team to gold. Lavanya Daly of Rossies won the 1-2 double in class 3, and Alia Francis, also of Rossies, won not the 1 but the 2-4 double. Terry Long of Edwin Allen class 4, final year 4, she won the double in class 4. And also Javier Brown, 400 meters double. Shantae Foreman ended with 4 medals. Shavani Hall of Edwin Allen, brilliant. He ran 1:48.58 to break the class 1 boys 800 meters. And this was after winning the 1500 meters earlier. So again, we have on our program tonight, Elmo and Davian. They are going to help me to look back at Champs 2021, and in particular, the final day. Elmo, Edwin Allen, they ended up winners. You had them to win. Edwin Allen, however, won by 30.5 points, Elmo. Do you think, are you satisfied with that? I know you have them to win, but you think they should have won by more points?
Okay, afternoon first. It's quite interesting that although we had them to win, I thought they'd have scored about 380 points. Of course, we saw how a lot of points were just thrown away. Maybe we shouldn't say thrown away, but things happen in championships. Lots of injuries. The notable ones would be that Daya, the young lady who runs class 1, 800 and 1500. She hardly gave Edwin Allen the points. I'm trying to remember if she even, yes, she finally finished the race where she barely walked on to walk past the finishing line. In class 3, Gail, who was unbeaten coming to the championships.
Let me step into you. Just let me step in right here, Elmo. You mentioned Dwyer. Does this Edwin Allen, do they have this championship fighting spirit, or they're lacking that fighting spirit, and whenever time they come into a championship where it's going to be close, it's going to be hard for them to win?
I don't know if it's a fighting spirit. I'd love to know what the problem is, because Daya apparently has a medical condition, because I've seen her at Central Champs fall to the ground and there are problems. Not sure if it's an asthma situation or what. But she, who was expected to give them the 18 points, might have just given them 1. In the case of Gail in class 3, she was unbeaten. I don't know much about her. The first year we were seeing her, she was unbeaten this year, and she actually stopped today in the 800. I don't know what happened. And of course, you had the mishaps like Tia Clayton picking out and so on. So Edwin Allen threw away a lot of points. If St. Jago was ever a deep squad, they would have beaten Edwin Allen today, because St. Jago did what they were supposed to do. They were a squad that had quality in a number of places, And basically, they went out there and they did it. I mean, they had a couple of mishaps. Nemad in the class 2 hurdles. Binga, who got injured because she was favored to win the class 300, although I'm not sure she could have handled the Russia's girl, Lavanya Williams. But so St. Jago did what they had to do. Heidel was the Heidel we know. They were always going to come, but they were always going to fall short because they didn't have enough middle distance, they didn't have enough throws. So, you know, that we expected. But Edwin Allen, I'm not sure if it's grit that's necessary, but something goes wrong on a number of occasions for them. But they won, and they won the 7th straight. So that has to say something. But I tell you something, if St. Jago gets a deep squad next year, things can be different.
Things can be different according to Elmo. And of course, let us bring in Davian Nugent here. Davian, Jamaica College, you have been singing that Jamaica College will win, even when other persons believe, Davian, you are calling this thing too early. Davian, you are calling this thing too early. But Jamaica College did deliver, even though they were disqualified from that 4x4 final. I think they won by 16.5 points in the end. Give us your thoughts on the final day, Davian.
Well, originally I had Jamaica College to win by 10. A lot of people were saying, hey, 10 points. You can't call chance on 10 points. But I'm brave. I'll go out there. I'll be the fool and call it on 10 points. But when Kingston College started to have the mishaps, Vassiana, the class 3, 100 hurdles, class 2 boys, long jump, when they started to have all those mishaps, I said, maybe this is starting to look like a 30-point gap, maybe even 40 if it continues. When champs finished today, I was looking like a genius because it was 28.5 and I was just about a point and a half behind that 30-point prediction. But Jamaica College, they had their mishaps at the end when it was pretty much all over. But let me tell you, Elmo spoke about the Edwin Allen girls having these mishaps. Had Kingston College started these championships better, they would have actually won. I just named out all the injuries and mishaps that they had, and there were more. A lot of injuries, lot of mishaps on Kingston College's part. JC had the same, but I think Kingston College just had too many mistakes, too many injuries to win these championships.
Davian, let me ask you this. You said Kingston College had too many mistakes, and if things had gone their way from the first day, they would have won. Having seen it at the end now, Jamaica College by 16 points. 16.5, and it could have been 28 if they had gotten the 4x4. Having seen what you have seen over the last 5 days, would you have still gone with Jamaica College, knowing that if things had gone Kingston College's way, Kingston College would have been the champions?
Knowing what I know now, probably I wouldn't have called it. Probably I would have waited a little bit more because this Kingston College team, although I thought the Jamaica College team was a better team. Kingston College probably was the better team, but they made too many mistakes, too many injuries, too many mishaps. And I just don't think the Jamaica College team had the kind of mettle, that the never say die attitude that Kingston College had. Because every time you thought, well, this is where Jamaica College is going to separate themselves. This is where they're going to move away from KC. KC was just there nagging, never say die attitude, never yield. And I tell you what, I'm going to give you an example. I noticed this after the boys 4x4 open was disqualified. There are 2 instances at championships today that will stand out in many viewers and listeners and who were following the championships.
I just wanted to hold that point.
Davis in the sprint medley fell
Davian,
everybody passed it.
I just want you to hold that point, Davian. Just hold that point because we're coming to that to get your moment. And let me bring back Elmo here now because very, very important, as I said, we're going to get back into your moment of the final day or your moment of champ. Elmo, I'm also going to ask you that question. But before we go to that question, you know, let me just get some comments from some of our viewers who are actually watching, supporting us here. Oscar Dixon, was the infringement by JC in the mile relay? And he's asking a question. Davian, will you answer that question?
I haven't looked at it. I just, as a matter of fact, just got a chance to get on the program and stuff. I haven't had a look at it. I've heard two things. I haven't checked on it. One is that there was a lane infringement on the pass over on the second exchange, and another was that there was an infringement, early cutting by Jamaica College on the second leg. I haven't looked at it yet, so I don't know. Maybe Elmo knows.
Well, what I was told was that the first runner actually ran on the line. I remember when Bruce James was showing over the race, we saw, I mean, we didn't see the guy running on the line, but we actually saw a yellow flag. No, I can't say if that flag was for that particular infringement, but the argument I am getting was that the first JC runner ran on the line.
Okay, and we move on to another comment, and this one is coming in from Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, excitement. I feel like I was there. And of course, having said that, you know, felt like she was there. Quite a few Caribbean athletes, you know, would have represented schools here in Jamaica over the years. But before we actually move on, let us just, you know, listen to what some of the athletes had to say today. And Elmo, which athlete would you want to hear from that, you know, would have performed well today? I'm just asking you to pick. I'm going to pick two athletes straight up. The first one is Shantae Foreman. I mean, when last have we seen somebody win the high jump and long jump, almost breaking both records, and then grabbing the baton in the 4x1 in about third or fourth place, and sprinting and winning the event, and then going on to the 4x4 and actually running a leg with a medal. On the boy side is Chevon Hall. I mean, that 140, it still has me shaking. I can't believe nobody expected Farquharson's record to go, and it didn't last for the next champs. And unfortunately, Elmo, we didn't get in any interview with any of those athletes. But Davian, let's listen to what Alia Francis had to say. And of course, Alia Francis is a double winner, 200, 400, class 1. Let's listen to what she has to say.
For double on the final day of champ. Was it how difficult or
The only difficult part of it for me was to recover quick enough for the 200. But it's something that I've been training for because we know that it would happen.
And of course, how do you feel now having completed the sprint double?
I feel really good. I feel really great.
Also another sprint double for Rusty's.
Lavanya.
Something new to your school?
Yes, I think so.
What does it say about the program?
It's a really great program. It shows that it's working. It's showing progress.
But overall, coming in the championship, what really was your expectation? What was the overall expectation?
My expectation was to win class 1 400 and to PB also in it, which I did. The 200 was a little bit more challenging for me, but I still came out on top.
Alia Francis there, you know, spoke about the challenge was with the 2-4 double. and she would have had the 2-4 double semifinals yesterday and coming back today for a 2 double final. And of course, I put this question to ISSA president, Keith Wellington, and I asked him about the scheduling and if ISSA will be looking into spreading the 100, 200, 400, 800 and the hurdles finals right across 4 days, which means you would have starting to have big finals from as early as Wednesday, second day. This is what Keith Wellington had to say.
I'm one of the persons lobbying for it, maybe to see important finals. Well, all finals are important, but the big ones, the 100, the 200, the 400, the 800, the sprint hurdles, for example, spread across 4 days. Can we, or maybe is there any time we might see a 100-meter final, for example, on the second day of champs?
This year we had it on what? On the third day. It's normally on the fourth day. There are 5 days, so we do have finals spread across. Maybe it's not spread evenly, but you have to remember that separate and apart from the actual running of the meet and scheduling, there's also the business side of it. So we have to take all of those things into account in determining which finals is held where. Of course, bearing in mind, in the front of your mind, that the most important thing would be the health and safety of the athletes.
Health and safety of the athletes, and also ISSA has to take into consideration the business side. How do you react to that, Elmo?
Okay, I hear what he's saying, and I'm sure Mr. Wellington loves sports, and he is a headmaster, maybe a headmaster first. Somebody needs to sit down with a sports-minded person from ISSA, whoever does the scheduling, because the schedule they have there makes no sense. I think we can look at character games, we can look at world championships, we can look at the Olympics, and what they tend to do, which makes sense, is to spread the finals across. So for example, you'd have the 100s, the 400, the 1500, all those being complete in the first 3 days. So you know, have space for the 200s and the 800s and so on for the other days, and the hurdle somewhere in between. What that does, just consider, suppose you did not have the 400 being run on the final day. Suppose you didn't have the 400. It would now mean that the people who double, because you know people do 4-8 doubles, like Tyrese Taylor, you have people who do 2-4 doubles, like they said Alia Francis. Now, suppose that 400 final was done with. They started running the 100s from the 400s from the very first day. Coming into the final day, you had the 2, the 8. It now means that the person who is going to run the 200 can now run the 200 and the 4x4. Person who runs the 800 can run the 800 and the 4x4. What we had today, we had athletes like Oakley, who we would have loved to see how she matched up against Tina. After she ran that 400, she just could not face the starter for the 200. We don't want to see that happen. So if we're talking about students' health, obviously the schedule that we have now makes no sense. We have people like Joanne Reed. She had to run the 400, the 200, the 4x4, the 4x1, and she wasn't the only one. That is not looking about the athlete's health. I
totally agree with you, Elmo. And at the same time, Oscar is bigging up Mr. Wellington and his team for excellent decision by the Jamaica government, you know, to give the go-ahead with the championships. That's just another one of our comments here. And, you know, I have to go through some of these comments here. You know, there's a lot of comments from Oscar. You know, congratulations to True Blue and Elmo. It was all blue this year because Edwin Allen is also blue. I don't know if they're going to be real blue or what blue. You know, Orlando, big up Shantae Foreman. You spoke about her earlier, Elmo. Very impressive performances by Shantae Foreman. 3 goals, 2 individual long jump, high jump goal. We got well over 6 meters in the long jump. Left the long jump track our area, our running area there, and just go straight into that 4x1, and did a very, very good job on that ankle leg. So, but Davian, let us bring back Davian here now. Davian, what was your highlight of the championship and your highlight for today's final day?
Well, my personal highlight, it's probably not one that is going to top many persons' list. It's probably not one that anybody even noticed. But my personal highlight has to be young Michaela Fullerton from Dintil, finishing 4th in the Class 3 400 meters. She has been trying at the sprints for years now. Class 4, 2 years, first year Class 3, and then this year switched from the 1-2 to the 4, dropped the 2 and focused on the 4. Didn't have a lot of background training going in, not a lot of, just ran the event of pure, unadulterated talent and instinct. Every round she PB'd, prelims, semifinals, finals, PB'd, got down to 56.3, I believe. For me personally, as her scoring 5 points for Dintil was my personal highlight. But if you want me to go on a bigger stage, I have to say Javier Brown. What an athlete. Yesterday broke the record, came back today, 45 seconds for the 400 meters. Big performance from him.
Big performance from you call him Javier. So it's either Javier or Javier. He said it's Javier. Let's hear what he has to say about his performance in the 400 meter hurdles on Friday. And he also talked about the 400 meter hurdles. As a matter of fact, he just started that and coach asked him to do that just to get valuable points for Jamaica College. Let's listen to what he has to say.
All right, well, yesterday I went out there with a strong mindset, and I just went out there and execute my race properly, follow my coach's instruction, and do well at the last half of at the race.
When you look back at the race, saw your celebration at the end, and you still ran 86. 49.86. How fast do you think you could have gone if you had gone through the line?
Well, to be honest, I think I could have gotten maybe 49.4. Yeah, within those time. Yeah.
You just started the hurdle this year, I understand?
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, to be honest, yes. I am, because I'm winning. So, yeah. Yeah.
400 meters now, a big field. They said probably one of the most competitive 400 meter hurdles. 400 meter class 1 boys field at champs ever. Take us through that race.
Well, I was a bit exhausted, but I just went out there, did my best, and as I said before earlier, I follow my coach's instruction and just do my best to my ability.
Coming into champs, how confident were you that you'd have won the 400 meter hurdles class 1 and the 400 class 1?
Well, during the season before the championship, I was doing well. I was running some great times that could motivate me to come here and create another big set in the championship.
So there you have it. So he actually believes he could have gotten as low as 49.4 if he had run straight through the line. And he also said that he's loving the 400 meter hurdles because he's winning. And that is also important. Another 400 meter hurdler who won big on Friday and who came back on Saturday to took her team across the line first and would have did what Cheyenne Salmon would have done, would have did what Sharoki Young would have did, and that was Gabrielle White. We also spoke to her.
Gabrielle White of Heidel, winner of the 400 meter hurdles open for girls, second place in the Class 1 girls 400. How do you feel about your performance?
Well, I'm pleased. I got to hit 2 personal bests, and for that I'm grateful. I just have to give God thanks and thankful that I'm injury-free and had a good championship so far.
How confident were you coming into championships 2021?
I can say it was a bit frustrating. Early season, we didn't know if champs was going to be held, and it was kind of rough for me this season, knowing that I had to sit out the Central Championship because of a needle in my knee. And I just had to remain focused and believe that God will take me through it all. And to come out here and get 2 individual medals, I can't complain. I'm grateful.
Can't complain. You hear it from Gabrielle White. Elmo, Tina Clayton, 1-2 double, anchored her team to a record run in that 4x1. Talk to us about Tina Clayton. Of course, she felt a little disappointed that Tia Clayton wasn't the 100-meter winner. Talk to us about Tina Clayton, Elmo.
Yeah, one of the things I'm sad about was that all the races that she ran into some serious headwinds. Otherwise, she'd have been running fantastic times. I get the feeling that in the 100, when she ran 11:37, if you remember, people like Elaine and Natasha and so on, they haven't been running much better at the stadium at the same kind of time with the same kind of wind. I think she is somewhere around 11:2 at worst, maybe even 11:1. This girl is awesome. It is also a pity that she never got to match up with Oakley in that 200 meters, because Oakley had just run the 400. But Tina is one of those stars. I kind of worry about her because I'd love to see when they grow and not put on weight. I'm hoping she does not put on too much weight and gets, because we have seen a couple of athletes. I hate to call names, but we've seen Ricky Ann Russell. She has put on a whole lot of weight and almost started training late. You don't want to see that. Tina seems to have put on weight, but she is handling the sprints quite well. Let us hope that, things continue the way they are. One thing about championships, we have a record of athletes who do well in class 4 and 3, not doing well after and moving up in the classes, right? So we're going to have to hope that things work out for her. But if she continues, she's going to be one of the fastest girls out there. But she is right now.
There you have it from Elmo. And of course, I have to read this comment. I like your interview questions. The kids sound more confident speaking to you. Thank you very much, Albert, for thanking me or for bigging me up. Another comment here coming in. Big up Edwin Allen and Jamaica College. Congratulations to you, Angela Jones-Marsh. Elmo is one of the long time supporters of trackalerts.com. And of course, Frederick, Brianna Liston is back. Clayton Twins in trouble. And he's referring to post-champs because we still have the World Under 20 coming up. And, he's saying that the Claytons are going to be in trouble because Brianna Liston is back, Elmo, and would have seen Brianna Liston beating the Clayton Twins at Central Champs. But Tina Clayton spoke to us today, and let's hear from her now.
Champs 2021 for you. How would you describe this year?
Well, this year was a very challenging year. Knowing that the COVID-19 came last year, we couldn't go at the championship. And to know that this year the championship had kept, I am really glad that it had kept, because there are a lot of kids out there confused and want to compete, a lot of kids in their first year and final year. Well, I'm just glad that it kept so that kids that in their final year can get sponsored and get scholarship to go to college.
You won the 100, the 200, you helped your team to bring the record in the 4x1. Which one of the performances would you say was your best this year?
Well, my best performance that I will say was in the 100 meter, because It was difficult also, but I think that's my best performance because I came out here knowing that my sister would have won. I know that she had fast start and I came out here to do it for her and my mother, and I'm really glad.
All in all, it was a good year for you.
Yes, this year is a very good year, although we have to be in and out of training. It was a good year for me.
Davian, you would have heard from her. I guess we lost Davian there, Elmo, but you heard from Tina Clayton. Sound very confident, Elmo.
Yeah, she sounds confident, But I love the comment the guy made about Brianna Liston, because one of the matchups we all wanted to see was Liston running against the Twins at Champs. I guess we're going to have to wait for next year. But they matched up at Central Champs, as you said. They also matched up at the stadium, where Liston actually beat Tina in the 200. Of course, lots of people may say, Tina didn't know she was that good and wasn't prepared for the race. Who knows? But we look forward to that duel. It's going to be interesting.
And I just said that, Elmo, I remember there's a video on Track Alert's YouTube channel with Tina Clayton beating Brianna Liston. Tina representing Westmoreland, Brianna Liston representing St. Catherine, maybe about, I think, 6 years ago at the National Stadium at the Sagicor All-Ireland Primary Championships, is it called?
Yeah, and to see where they are now, right? They're totally like some little primary school kids, right?
Yes.
And then we just realized, look at that.
And Brianna would have came back to beat Tina in class 4 at Champs.
Right.
So the championship fight between the Claytons and Brianna Liston look good for the future.
Looks good for the future. I must say, and I could be wrong here, I'm a body type kind of person. I prefer Liston's body type. I'm hoping that the Twins do not put on all of this weight, because we know what happens when the ladies put on too much weight, right? So I'm hoping, because it's hard to ask kids at that age to eat a certain way, to manage the diets and so on. It's not like adults who know that, hey, we are pros and we have to eat, you know? Remember Christania Williams, when she was a bit chubby at Edwin Allen and so on, but when she went pro, she actually took off the weight, right?
Yes.
But one thing I like is that the girls seem solid. They're solid. They love the thing, and I guess you have to thank Champs for that. They love this thing of track and field and where it can take them.
Michael Dyke, 7th straight, 8th overall. What do you think Dyke should take from 2021 Champs into the future?
Well, one of the things they should take is that he can take nothing for granted. If he had lost this one, I remember he had lost one that he was supposed to win. And this one, again, at the time, he was going against Holmwod. And Holmwod were the underdogs, but of course they had Maurice Wilson at the helm. And he beat them. I mean, I remember we were projecting Edwin Allen to win by 40, 50 points. And Edwin Allen and Holmwod actually won that one this year with Chris and Gordon. And, you know, so Coach Dyke, I have to say that as far as sprinting, you know, I think he has improved as a coach of sprinters, the shorter distance. All his sprinters for the last few years, his sprinters have been doing very well. Middle distance athletes too. But there is something there at Edwin Allen, which Davian had spoken about. I'm not sure what it is. That when the day comes, something happens and Edwin Allen does not perform as well as they should. Because when it comes to quality, they had the quality this year. This year. But hey, a win is a win. It's 7th straight. What can we say?
Yeah.
Dyke deserves his accolades.
And having said that, Edwin Allen didn't perform as we expected them, but a win is a win. St. Jago stepped up. Heidel performed as Heidel. Holmwod, what's happened to Holmwod? Holmwod didn't perform as Holmwod. Sashika Steele, you know, one would have expected her to be dominating the 1-2 now. What happened to Sashika Steele, okay. Elmo? You have been following them up.
Yeah, cause Holmwod, you know, I used to be a teacher at Holmwod, you know. So, you know, I have a special thing for them, and I know the coaches fairly well. So what has happened at Holmwod? 2 things. And I think their manager spoke about it on radio. One is that they are not, they have a new headmaster now, and I'm not sure he understands the culture and they don't get to recruit as much as they wanted. So, the quality of athletes they usually have, they don't have. Secondly, when schools like Edwin Allen, Jamaica College, KC, Diego, for a fact, I know the top schools were actually training from like September, October, November. Because we saw them. They had camps and everything. Homewood didn't start until January. No, when you supposed to have a March thing. And so in January, when Homewood went to Central Champs, they looked terrible. Everybody expected Veer to beat them, including myself. They looked terrible, but in fact, you'll hear the Homewood coaches say, the best thing that happened to us is that Champs was delayed until May. Because then they could get in a whole lot of work. The athletes who had Central Champs couldn't win anything. Like the 800-meter girls, they won gold medals this time around. I mean, it's so strange. But Homewood, it's going to be tough for them, especially if the situation is they can't do the kind of recruiting that they have always done. Because we're going to have to face it. If you don't recruit, you are not going to win champs, right? I know Veer is on the up. They have spoken. They have said, listen, we need to get back to where we were. And it wouldn't be surprised me by next year Veer is in front of Homewood and that Veer is challenging because they have started so well.
Okay, there you have it. And Elmo, I'm just going to go through a few more of our comments here coming in. And so you do PB every season, it's okay, but Kevona Davis, she's not even in the top 50 in the US. Errol, Edwin Allen athletes was not fit. COVID looks like it messed up their training, he's saying. Come on now, with the uncertainties since 2020, there is no way you should be saying that the athletes underperform, whether it be Edwin or the team that got no point. Your point well taken there, Oscar. And another Brianna Liston suggestion here. The twins and Liston battle will be like that of Sharon Simpson and Karen. Hope it develops into a kind of competition at the highest level. And we all hope so that it also develops in that kind of friendly competition. Edwin Allen need to show they can win champs. With pressure seems they win when they have a massive advantage. But I love Edwin Allen, my team, that comment there coming in. And of course, I asked Elmo before, we're still trying to get back Davian Nugent, Elmo, online. We are not getting back Davian Nugent. We don't know what's wrong. But I asked you about Michael Dyke earlier and what you hope Michael Dyke would take from 2021 championships, being it a COVID championships, as many called it, into future championships. And I spoke to Michael Dyke today after his team victory, and this is what Michael Dyke has to say.
We're here with Coach Michael Dyke, winning coach Edwin Allen. 8th straight victory for your coach. How are you feeling about this one?
Well, this is probably one of the toughest one. The fact that we are in a pandemic year, it was difficult to get started. We had a lot of parents who weren't willing to send the children because of fear, and everything was so difficult financial wise. But in the end, the champs was able to be held, and happy to know that we are the champion once again.
How special does this one make it?
Well, it's a pandemic championship, so it must be a special one. The fact that there was a lot of uncertainty, but we didn't stop training. We continued to train despite the uncertainty, because we were very confident that at some point we would have gotten the opportunity, and here it is.
What was the highlights for you, and also what were the down moments?
Well, the down moments was, we had a lot of injuries throughout the championship, a lot of setbacks, false starts and all kind of things. you know, one of my highlights was my class 4 girl, Tiana Lee. You know, she was there from last year, didn't get a chance to compete. And happy to know that, you know, she and most of the others would have gotten a chance this year, and she was able to win 3 gold medals.
And of course, how will you celebrate this 8th title now with your girls?
Well, it won't be easy to have a normal celebration, but we'll do what is possible once it's in a safe environment. We will have to celebrate somehow.
And finally, difficult year, you mentioned with COVID and everything. What do you think you would learn from this year that would help you in the future?
Well, the fact that we were able to reduce our team and still able to maximize our base and points and stuff, it goes to show that, you know, sometimes the numbers can be reduced and probably go for more quality, which will require less expense, and, you know, you'll be able to have better control.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
There you have it from Coach Michael Dyke. And on that note, this comment from Mr. Hudson, still recovering from an injury in April. And that is why, you know, he's explaining to us why Steele didn't turn up the Steele we know. Congrats, JC, number 22. That's 22 titles for JC, and Edwin Allen, number 8. Every school have them season. Another comment here coming in from Oscar. Jamaica track and field is alive and well. Here comes World Junior. Jamaica track and field is alive and well. I just honestly believe the girls are doing a fairly good job. I'm still concerned with the boys not getting or not seeing the times from the boys that we would want to see. You know, the 400, you know, you'd really want to see more boys running 46 low. Or, I mean, we should, our class 1 boys, class 2 boys should really be knocking on that 45 door more often. So the girls are doing a fairly good job. I don't think the boys are performing the way that they should be performing. And Elmo, I just read one of the comments there where one of our fans was saying that Jamaica track and field is live and well. I don't think it's live and well on the boys' side. I think we're coming up short where that is concerned. Who is going to take over from the Usain Bolt? Who is going to take over from the Asafa Powell or the Johan Blake? I don't see. What says you, Elmo?
Well, if we're talking about the seniors right now, yes, but you know, things happen in cycles. And the ladies have been fairly consistent, one must say. Before Usain Bolt, we had, you know, remember Veronica Campbell and Sharon Simpson were carrying the torch. We were looking good. We actually had won the gold. I remember the 4x1 gold medal that VC, Sharon and those girls won, Aileen Bailey, right? So the ladies have been very consistent, and the Bolt era has ended. Now, when it comes to champs and the times that the boys have run, you have to remember, and a lot of people don't know this, at the National Stadium, the only time you will get fast times in the hundreds are in the evening. That's why they usually, in Friday evening at about 7 o'clock, we run the class 100s. When you start running,
but Elmo,
please let your listeners understand.
Let me ask this question. For the last 2 years or 3 years, have you seen any high school boys, and maybe Christopher Taylor left school, what, 2 years ago? But have you seen any boy in the last, or boys in the last 2 years that you think capable of running 10-1? No.
Okay, let me just quickly say it. In 2019 championships, 2 Jamaican boys ran 10-1. That's the first time ever 2 Jamaican boys ran 10-1. Calabar Youth came from Holmwod, went to Calabar. What's his name again, Kat? He's with Racers now. And then I was...
Civil.
Can't believe...
Civil,
right.
Yes.
The guy who came second to him, Robert, and the guy who came second to him, Robertson, ran 10-1 also. So 2 guys ran 10-1. The only time I remember 2 guys running 10-1 was when Zarnell Hughes and Minzy ran it. And Zanel Hughes is not Jamaican. Right. So there is that, right? Before that, the only other guy who would have run 10-1 was Johan Blake when he set the Jamaica junior record when he ran 10-1. So running 10-1s and so on is not something that just happens. Sure, we can talk about the Bolt era, but in the Bolt era, well, he never ran 100. You can talk about all of those guys that ran, but they never ran 10-1. Yeah. A lot of things happen.
But then if you are to look on it, if you are to look on it also, Elmo, we wouldn't have had any male sprinter that would have gone on to the world stage. Apart from say Asafa Powell, who did he make a champs final? Maybe one.
He made a champs final, picked out. So he never actually ran one.
Yes, actually. Yeah, and Johan Blake, 10-1 at champs. Johan Blake, the national 100-meter record holder when he was a junior record holder. So we don't have over the years many 100-meter, 200-meter sprinter. For example, Chris Williams, Mullins one at the time was knocking on the door. But these guys were really running fast times at champs.
But they never ran 10-1. Even when Johan, I can't remember if Johan actually ran it at champs. I know he ran it at Carifton. Everybody was shocked. Oh my gosh, Johan ran 10-1-1 and break the junior record. I think he ran at champs, but not 10-1-1, right? Because remember, the champs record is held by Zanel Hughes. And the second fastest time to him, I think, could be Seville or Mincy. So Johan isn't the fastest top 3 at the champs class 1 records, but he did 10-1-1 at Carifton, right? That's where he ran his fastest time. But Zanel Hughes has the championship record. The same race where he ran with Minzy. And Seville was close to it. Robertson also ran 10-1, right? So this year, it's a shame. One of the things about track and field, people need to understand that, because if you look at all the races, they're running into negative wind. And a good example for people to follow is this. Look at Natasha Morrison. Her fastest time this season in Jamaica is what? 11:3. She goes to the US to run at meet over there. She runs 10:87, right? Clayton, I think Clayton is faster than she has ever been, maybe. She ran 10-2 2 years ago in class 3, 10-20 something. She ran 10-36. No. Does that mean that she's... No, she ran in -2 point something. If you use a wind calculator to convert, which are not necessarily if you are trusted to the maximum, it's really a 10-2 run. Yeah. So I am saying that all of those 100s, you can save 0.2 to 0.3 seconds off them, because the stadium has some serious wind during the day. We're not getting this Friday evening championship run. So please don't use those times to make the determine that we're not running well.
Not running well, Elmo said, please don't use those factors. Now it's time for us to turn our attention now and hear from a man, Elmo. Went close on 2 occasions. Many believe he should have won at Kingston College, Neil Harrison, who was at Monroe College before, you know, produced the likes of Delano Williams and many, many more. You know, it didn't work for him at Jamaica College, Elmo. As we said, I think it was what, 2016, 2017, or 2017, 2018, when many expected KC to win, and it didn't happen.
That is true. That is true. And one of the things about life, you know, when things happen, people are going to blame the coach. So again, you're not going to meet a nicer person than Neil Harrison, right? And you know, working at Kingston College would have had to be the most challenging experience. So I am glad that he got this win. He's taking the monkey off his back. So now nobody can say, you have seen Neil Harrison there. He couldn't win. He did it, all right? As a coach, though, I would like for people to remember this. He coached Delano at Monroe. Fantastic 400-meter runner, 2.4. Although he won the 100 too. He goes to Kingston College. And he develops Akeem Broomfield. 44.9 as a schoolboy. And he develops a lot of these 2-4 strong, the long sprinters. And he goes to Jamaica College, and you just know. I mean, a few years ago, we were saying, Jamaican College, what happened to the 400-meter program? So one thing you know, as long as Neil is there, they're going to have a great 400-meter program. If we look at what happened this year, they won the Class 1. Pogba Brown won the Class 1 400. Mark Miller, the first-year Class 2 guy, ran 47 to win the Class 2 400. And the only reason why they didn't win the Class 3 400 is because their athlete was disqualified. You know, which is another thing which could be managerial. But certainly, with Neil, you know you're going to get some serious quarter milers and very good 200-meter runners also.
Serious quarter milers indeed. And Neil Harrison today told us that Mark Anthony is a sprinter, 1-2. He went to him and he said, I'm asking you, the team wants you. You have to run the 400 for your team to win, champs. And he's happy that he won the 400 for his team, but, and this is Coach Harrison, a little bit disappointed that his main event, his pet event, he did not win that one, but he won the event that they asked him, please run this event for your team. Let us listen now to what Neil Harrison has to say.
Coach Neil Harrison, congratulations, first of all, victory for you, victory for Jamaica College after 10 years. How does this make you feel?
It's a great feeling. I struggle for words. I'm speechless. But just a wonderful feeling, and I'm just happy that as competitive as it was, I was able to bring it home to 189 All Hope Road.
How difficult was this one? Of course, you would have been involved in other championship battles over the years. How difficult was this one for you?
It is difficult because you're up against Kingston College, and they live with their motto: the brave may fall but never yield. I was at Kingston College before. I'm not there anymore, and so therefore it gives a good rivalry. And when you are going up against your rivals, you want to give off your best. And I'm happy that this time around I was able to pull it off.
You said you were at Kingston College. Did this in any way would have serve as extra motivation for the boys from JC?
Definitely, they have my back. You know, they told me that they will do everything to ensure that we took it from North Street, and they ran their heart out. And I'm grateful for the fact that the kind of commitment and dedication from day one. It is not an easy task to have a group of boys in bubble. Boys do not like confinement. They are in a different space. They want to be at home, you know. And so to make that kind of sacrifice and that kind of commitment is testimony to the fact of their hard work and dedication in achieving the Mortimer Geddes Trophy.
So there you have it. There you have it from Neil Harrison. You know, he spoke about the importance. He spoke about, you know, boys in a bubble, and, you know, the boys were disciplined, and that helped them to pull it off. Elmo, JC had quite a few overseas athletes, and those athletes turn up big time.
All right, first, before I address the overseas athlete, a quick thing on Miller. Although he didn't win 200, you know that his feet had some serious blisters on it. It's like he couldn't even keep his spikes on. I got somebody sent me a picture of his foot. So he was like he was almost hopping in the spikes. He didn't even run the 4x1. He didn't even run the 4x1. He couldn't run. If he had run, he would have easily won that 200 meters. Right? He's that good. And I think right now he's in 20-point-something form. Now back to the Eastern Caribbean. Well, I'm glad to see that Jamaica has become a kind of magnet for the Caribbean. So people who have the track stars. I mean, it started before. Remember Monroe had Delano. We saw a couple of guys like Belinfanti from Calabar. He came from a Turks Island. Reed, the high jumper. He came from a Turks Island. The girl from St. Lucia who ran for St. Catherine.
Yes.
Now we are seeing that this movement has started to grow. So On the JC side, you have Roban. He ran the 800 and the 1500, and he ran the third leg on the 4x4. Right? You saw him holding up his St. Vincent flag.
Yes.
Right? They have some other names. I can't remember one guy, St. Pierre or something like that. I think he won the class 1 high jump, I think. One of the high jumps.
High jump, he won the high jump.
Right. So you have a number of, there's one I remember, can't remember his name. He did the Ryan, is it Ryan? He did the long jump. I think he placed third in the long or triple jump. So the Caribbean athletes, there's guys from Trinidad too. The Caribbean athletes have realized that, hey, listen, the little pian club type system we have where we go run 2 little foolish meet, is not going to develop us.
Yes.
It would be good if we could come to Jamaica, where there is a full-fledged high school track and field program, track and field rivalry that we can feel a part of. And we would love to be going there. Because, I mean, can you imagine? This year we had people from Guyana. We had one athlete at least from Guyana. We had an athlete from St. Vincent, right? We had from Trinidad. I was the only Bahamas, I think, we didn't have any athletes from. So we have had St. Lucia already, right? I know Jacob had the girl in Alves. She won the javelin. Not sure. I think it's Grenada she came from. So I like the movement. I like the movement. I see one of your comments here, the guy was talking about the Vinci boys. Right?
Yeah, the Vinci boys. And as you talk about that, Elmo, I did ask Coach Harrison, how did these guys fit into a Jamaican program? And this is what he has to say.
What was the ups and the downs for you during this championship?
Just trying to manage a pandemic with a group of boys who you want to stay COVID free. Their parents have entrusted them into your care, and it's not a nice thing for us at Jamaica College to be calling a parent to say your son have COVID. And I'm grateful to God that this have never happened. We had 84, included coaching and management staff. We have about 84 persons, and when we were tested, everybody was COVID free, and we are eternally grateful for that.
Were you at any time during the championships, especially on today's final day, felt as if, wonder if we're going to get this, wonder if we're going to cross the line?
I was always confident, but there were moments, for example, when we got hurt in the 200 meters with Javier Thomas, and then we got hurt in the 100 meters with Bent, and these are two very, very, very important persons to the 4x1. But when you are going in a championship, you have to expect the unexpected, and you have to prepare for it. So I had contingency plan, and the contingency plan bear a bronze medal, and I am very grateful for that.
And finally, I have to ask you, how does the overseas athletes fit in the program, in school in Jamaica and in Jamaica College track and field program?
Only when they talk, you would know that they are not from Jamaica. They embrace the Jamaican culture. They love Jamaica, and we took very good care of them. And I'm happy for the major contribution that they have made into our program.
So he spoke about the ups and downs. He spoke about the contribution the Caribbean athletes would have had to the Jamaica College program and their success in 2020. Elmo, what was the major highlight for you in closing for Champs 2021, starting from day 1 to day 5?
All right. We spoke about some of the individuals, like the Alia Francis, Foreman, and, Hall and so on. The major highlight for me is St. Elizabeth Technical High School and Coach Walcott. I can't remember, and I guess you can remind me, has there ever been a school that has overpowered these top schools in the sprints? I mean, they got 181 points, and I'm sure about 150, 140 at least would have been from the track. And remember, they got disqualified, their 100-meter class 2 winner got disqualified in the 200 because they say he ran on the line. And in that 4x1 class 2, the starter said he heard a sound and he jumped, and they kicked him out for false starting. So they lost all of those points, right? So they won the class 3 4x1. In the class 1 4x1, they were what at 90 with 10 meters to go. The anchor couldn't hold on, and Jacob beat him, right? They could have swept. They swept the they swept the 100 meters. They could have swept the 4x1s. They were so close to doing that. But I mean, first you need to tell me, can you remember a school that is not named GSC, KC, or Calabar who would come? I mean, those are the powerhouse schools with all of the resources and all of that. And here comes a little school with that one little young boy coach. Right, true?
Can't remember that Elmo at all.
And he just comes and
can't remember a school winning all.
Yes. Right. And not just that, they come and they run the 800. Class 3 800, the boy runs 159, beats the GSC duo. Right? And the class 2 boy, he was true. The GSC guys, them got him at the end. And he lost. They won the medley. Right? Yes. Won some events where you're saying, but hold on. So for me, the highlight, the kind of big highlight, if we're not talking individuals, was that a school from the West, St. Elizabeth Technical High School, came to town and let the town people them know, say, is not only KC and GSC and Calabar that can produce winners. They did it, and when the States people hit the track, also the hurdles, the sprint hurdles, when they hit the track, people feared them. People feared them. They did so very well.
Elmo, my highlight would have been, of course, Shantae Foreman. You know, we knew it was her for the high jump, but she stepped up big time in the long jump, and she stepped up big time on that ankle leg of that 4x1, and also she picked up another medal, bronze medal in the 4x4, and of course, Hall of Edwin Allen. That 148 Elmo, 148, and I'm actually trying to get that 148.58, and according to my friend Ricardo Chambers, he was 50.5 at the bell, 50.5 Elmo. I think 148.58, having won the 1500 meters already. Also, Alia Francis, 2-4 double. We knew Alia Francis was going to mash up, as they would say in Jamaican terms, Elmo, mash up the 400, but she stepped up big time in the 200. Of course, she was favored to win the double, but of course, her main event and the one that big things were expected of her was the 400. And also, Rossies again won the class 3 girls. The class 3 girls 1-2. That's Lavanya Daly.
Williams.
Coming again from Rossies, Elmo. Another big moment. And of course, I cannot leave this one, Elmo. I cannot leave this one because this one set the tone on the 4th day. That 49.86. Elmo, the man's top run, about 5 meters to go, and I celebrate. He said he would have gone 49.4 if he had gone, run straight through the line. So those were my highlights, Elmo. Unfortunately, we had gone over time. We normally do this program for 30 minutes, Elmo. We gone now 1 hour and 3 minutes, but they said all good things have to come to an end. And one of the man, Elmo, who is celebrating not only because St. Elizabeth Technical swept that 100 meters for boys at the National Stadium on Friday night. It wasn't Friday night, Elmo, it was Thursday night.
Right.
He's celebrating, but he's not only celebrating because Stets performed so well, he's also celebrating because ISSA will get some well-needed cash into their coffers, Elmo. And that man is Keith Wellington, Principal of Stets, President of ISSA. Thank you very much, Elmo, for joining. Thanks to Davian Nugent. But we'll close out now the show, review show Champs 2021 and Track Alerts TV on YouTube and Track Alerts Live on Facebook will now close out with what ISSA's president, Keith Wellington, told us after Champs 2021 and how he's feeling.
We're here with President of the Intersecondary School Sports Association, ISSA, Mr. Keith Wellington. Champs 2021 out of the way. Give us your overall perspective of it.
Well, haven't had a whole lot of time to do reflection yet, but just from the moment, I think that things went fairly well. Maybe even a little better than we would have expected in terms of the logistics and how supportive everyone was. I think that what made it go well, in my opinion, is that everybody involved wanted this to happen and they were willing to be selfless and to make sacrifices to ensure that this worked well.
Looking forward now, what would you take from this year being, COVID affected year into future champs?
I think there are a number of things that we are going to be able to adapt going forward. For example, one of the coaches are particularly.
We're here with President of the Intersecondary School Sports Association, ISSA, Mr. Keith Wellington. Champs 2021 out of the way. Give us your overall perspective of it.
Well, haven't had a whole lot of time to do reflection yet, but just from the moment, I think that things went fairly well. Maybe even a little better than we would have expected in terms of the logistics and how supportive everyone was. I think that what made it go well, in my opinion, is that everybody involved wanted this to happen and they were willing to be selfless and to make sacrifices to ensure that this worked well.
Looking forward now, what would you take from this year being, COVID affected year into future champs?
I think there are a number of things that we are going to be able to adapt going forward. For example, one of the coaches are particularly pleased with the ranking system and the use of the regional meets as automatic qualifiers. So these, maybe on the track side, those are some of the things we'll be looking at. When we look at the television production, we want to look at how we can build on what we did there. There are a number of things, as I said, we haven't had the time to reflect yet, but I'm sure there are a number of things that we will be able to adapt.
Advertise on our live streaming on Track Alert's social media pages, which provides the most prominent online viewership from track and field meets in Jamaica. Your products will be seen by our large audience in Jamaica, the diaspora, and across the world. Book your spot in our live stream for a very small introductory fee. Call or text us at 876-893-4157 or email anthonyfoss@gmail.com. TrackAlerts.com from start to finish.